Trump urges Ukraine and Russia to meet, says they are close to deal. President Donald Trump on Friday called for Ukraine and Russia to meet for very high level talks, saying they are very close to a deal on ending the bloody 3-year war. Trump posted on his Truth Social site shortly after arriving in Rome for Pope Francis' funeral that it was a good day in talks and meetings with Russia and Ukraine. His envoy Steve Witkoff had made a visit to Moscow to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday. They are very close to a deal, and the two sides should now meet at very high levels to finish it off, Trump wrote. Most of the major points are agreed to. Stop the bloodshed now. We will be wherever we will be wherever is necessary to help facilitate the end to this cruel and senseless war. Trump's announcement followed him saying in an interview published on Friday that Crimea will stay with Russia. The latest example of how he has been pressuring Ukraine to make concessions to end the war while the country remains under siege. He also earlier demanded on social media that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky immediately sign a long delayed agreement giving the US access to his nation's mineral resources. Progress on ending the war has seemed elusive in the months since Trump returned to the White House, and his previous claims of imminent breakthroughs have failed to come to fruition. Russia continued its bombardment of Ukraine on Friday, killing 3 people with a drone strike on an apartment building in a southeastern city. Despite a rare admonishment of Putin this week, Trump's focus has largely been on urging Zelensky to cut a deal that would involve ceding territory to Ukraine's invader. In an interview with the Time magazine, Trump described Crimea as a place where Russia has had their submarines and the people speak largely Russian. Crimea will stay with Russia, Trump said, and Zelensky understands that, and everybody understands that it's been with them for a long time. It's been with them long before Trump came along. When asked by reporters, Zelensky said he didn't want to comment on Trump's statement but repeated, as he has many times during the war, that recognizing occupied Ukrainian territory as a Russian in a red line for his country. Crimea is a strategic peninsula along the Black Sea in southern Ukraine. It was seized by Russia in 2014 while President Barack Obama was in office, years before Russia's full-scale invasion of its neighbor in 2022. Disagreements over next steps. Trump has been accusing Zelensky of prolonging the war by resisting negotiations with Putin. Western European leaders, however, have accused Putin of dragging his feet in the negotiations and seeking to grab more Ukrainian land while his army has battlefield momentum. The war could be approaching a pivotal moment as the Trump administration weighs its options. Senior US officials had warned that the administration could soon give up attempts to stop the war if the two sides did not come to a settlement. Speaking to reporters on Friday as he left the White House to attend the Pope's funeral, Trump said there was no deadline for the conclusion of peace talks. I just want to do it as fast as possible, Trump said. Negotiators are pretty close to a deal, he said. He promised to meet with foreign leaders while in Rome and said it was possible he could meet with Zelensky. Zelensky said late Friday, however, that he was not sure he would make it to Rome in time for the funeral. Witkoff's meeting with Putin on Friday was their second this month and the fourth since February. Witkoff's trip coincided with the death of a senior Russian military officer in a car bomb near Moscow. Putin's foreign policy aide Yuri Ushakov, who attended the talks, said the meeting lasted 3 hours and was constructive and useful. Further talks are expected, he said. Putin and Witkoff discussed, in particular, the possibility of resuming direct negotiations between representatives of the Russian Federation and Ukraine, according to Ushakov. Delegations from the two countries last met in the weeks following Russia's February 2022 invasion of its neighbor. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said in an interview with CBS that he agreed with Trump's opinion that negotiations are moving in the right direction. Russia, he said before Trump's post, is ready to reach a deal, but there are still some specific points, elements of this deal which need to be fine-tuned. Russia's attacks claim more lives. Meanwhile, Russia has continued its bombardment of Ukraine. A drone struck an apartment building in a southeastern Ukraine city, killing 3 people and injuring 10 others, officials said on Friday, a day after Trump rebuked Putin for a major missile and drone attack on Kyiv that killed 12 people and injured 87. Russian forces fired 103 Shahed and decoy drones at 5 Ukrainian regions overnight, Ukraine's Air Force reported. Authorities in the northeastern Sumy and Kharkiv regions reported damage to civilian infrastructure but no casualties. Russian forces used Thursday's attacks on Kyiv as cover to launch almost 150 assaults on Ukrainian positions along the roughly 1,000-kilometer front line, Zelensky said late Thursday. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you everyone. Bye.